Look at any truly powerful person. They're alone, not by accident, not by failure, by design. Here's the ruthless truth. Success demands sacrifice. Friendship demands compromise. You get one or the other, never both. The people at the top understand this. The people at the bottom wonder why they feel so isolated. You're about to learn why your loneliness is your greatest asset. Every friend you have is a chain. Every social obligation is a weight. Every relationship built on sentiment instead of strategy is draining your potential. The world tells you that connection is everything. The world lies. Look around. The CEO works weekends while friends party. The entrepreneur misses birthdays to build their vision. The athlete trains alone at 5 a.m. while everyone sleeps. These people aren't lonely because they failed at relationships. They're alone because they succeeded at priorities. This is the isolation advantage. This is the truth nobody wants to admit. The path to greatness is walked, alone. And those who understand this truth, they rise. Those who fight it, they stay average. Now let me be clear before we go further. This knowledge is for understanding, not for cruelty. The goal is to recognize the reality of ambition, not to become cold or heartless. Use this information to make informed choices about your relationships and your future. Don't use it to justify treating people badly. Today, you'll learn the 8 principles of strategic solitude, the psychological truths that separate those who achieve from those who belong. Winners from pleasers, leaders from followers. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose ambition over approval, purpose over popularity. Now let's expose the truths about success and solitude that most people refuse to face. Number 1, friendship as liability. Machiavelli once said, "Friendships that are obtained by payments and not by greatness or nobility of mind are purchased but not secured. Friends are expensive, not in money, but in time, energy, and focus. Every hour you spend maintaining friendships is an hour you don't spend building your future. Every compromise you make to keep someone happy is a compromise you make against your goals." Most people don't want to hear this. They've been taught that friendship is sacred, that relationships are what life is about. But look at what friendship costs. Your friend wants to hang out. You have work to do. You choose the friend, you fall behind. You choose the work, the friendship suffers. Either way, someone loses. Now multiply this by 5 friends, 10 friends, 20 friends, each one with expectations, each one with needs, each one requiring your time, your attention, your emotional bandwidth. The math doesn't work. You only have 24 hours in a day. Every hour spent on relationships is an hour not spent on yourself. Here's what happens in practice. Your friends want to go out drinking on Friday night. You have a project deadline. Most people go out because they fear social rejection. They sacrifice their goals to maintain approval. Then they wonder why they're not progressing. Or your friend is going through a breakup and needs 3 hours on the phone. You have a business plan to finish. Most people take the call because they feel guilty. They put someone else's emotional crisis above their own strategic priorities. This isn't about being cruel. This is about understanding opportunity cost. Every yes to someone else is a no to yourself. The most successful people understand this equation. They protect their time like it's their most valuable asset because it is. Think about the people you admire most. How many close friends do they have? Probably not many. Why? Because they chose excellence over companionship. They chose results over rapport. They chose isolation over integration. The warning here is this. You don't need to abandon everyone. You need to be honest about what friendship costs and whether you're willing to pay that price. Some friendships add value, most drain it. Learn the difference. Number 2, selective isolation. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." You don't need to cut off everyone. You need to filter ruthlessly. Most people collect friends like trophies. They think more is better. They're wrong. Quality over quantity isn't a cliche here. It's survival. Selective isolation means you choose who gets access to you. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone earns your energy. Not everyone gets to influence your decisions. You become the gatekeeper of your own life. Here's how most people operate. Someone asks to hang out, they say yes. Someone calls, they answer. Someone needs something, they help. They're reactive. They let other people set their schedule and control their calendar. Then they complain about having no time. Selective isolation flips this. You decide who gets your attention based on strategic value. Does this person make you better? Do they challenge you to grow? Do they support your ambitions? If the answer is no, they don't get access. This sounds harsh. It is harsh, but it's also honest. You're not here to be everyone's friend. You're here to achieve something meaningful. Those two goals are often incompatible. Let's talk about practical application. You have a colleague who always wants to grab lunch and complain about work. That's an hour of your day listening to negativity with zero return. Someone with selective isolation skills says no. They protect that hour for something productive. Or you have a friend from college who wants to relive old times every weekend. That's time you spend looking backward instead of moving forward. Selective isolation means you limit those interactions to maybe once a month instead of every week. The key is being intentional. You're not randomly cutting people out. You're making strategic decisions about who adds value to your life and who subtracts it. The people who make you better, you keep close. The people who drain you, you keep distant. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Most people in your life right now are anchors, not engines. They're holding you where you are instead of pushing you where you want to go. They're comfortable with your current level because it makes them feel better about theirs. When you start rising, you'll notice something. The people who claim to support you will start finding reasons why your goals are unrealistic, why you're changing, why you're not fun anymore. This is social gravity. They want you to stay on their level. Selective isolation protects you from this. You create distance from people who want you to stay small. You create proximity to people who expect you to grow. This is how you build an environment for success instead of an environment for stagnation. The ethical consideration here is communication. You don't need to be cruel about creating distance. You simply become less available. You respond slower. You decline more invitations. You let the relationship naturally fade instead of making dramatic announcements. Remember, selective isolation isn't about hating people. It's about loving your future more than you love your present social comfort. Number 3, transactional clarity. Machiavelli once said, "Men are less careful of offending someone they make themselves loved by than one they make themselves feared by." Every relationship is transactional. Some people pretend this isn't true. They talk about unconditional love and pure friendship. They're lying to themselves. Every relationship has terms. Every connection has an exchange. The difference between successful people and everyone else is honesty about this fact. What does transactional mean? It means you give something and you get something. In friendships, you give time, emotional support, and loyalty. You get companionship, validation, and shared experiences. The question is whether that exchange serves your goals or hinders them. Most people operate on sentiment. They maintain relationships because they've known someone for years, because they feel obligated, because ending things would feel wrong. They ignore whether the relationship adds value. They prioritize feelings over function. Transactional clarity means you evaluate relationships based on outcomes. What are you putting in? What are you getting out? Is this exchange moving you forward or holding you back? If the math doesn't work, you adjust the relationship or end it. Here's a concrete example. You have a friend who calls you every time they have a problem. You spend hours helping them. When you have problems, they're unavailable. This is an unbalanced transaction. You're giving more than you're receiving. Someone with transactional clarity recognizes this imbalance and corrects it. Another example, you have a mentor relationship where you give your time and expertise to someone younger. In return, you get nothing. No loyalty, no gratitude, no future value. This is a bad transaction. You stop investing. The opposite works too. You have a relationship where both people benefit equally. You push each other to be better. You share resources. You create opportunities for each other. This is a good transaction. You invest more. The key is being honest about what you want from relationships and whether you're getting it. Most people never ask this question. They just accept whatever relationships they have and wonder why they feel unfulfilled. Successful people ask different questions. What does this person bring to my life? What do I bring to theirs? Is this exchange fair? Is it helping me achieve my goals? If the answers don't align with their priorities, they make changes. Now here's where people get uncomfortable. This sounds cold. It sounds like you're using people. But you're already in transactional relationships. You're just not being honest about it. Every friendship is based on mutual benefit. The only question is whether you're aware of the terms. Being transactional doesn't mean being exploitative. It means being clear about what you need and what you offer. It means choosing relationships where both people benefit. It means ending relationships where one person gives and the other takes. The most ethical way to practice transactional clarity is to make sure the exchanges are fair. You don't take more than you give. You don't use people without providing value in return. You simply stop investing in relationships where the exchange doesn't serve anyone's best interests. This principle protects you from being drained by people who see you as an emotional dumping ground or an endless resource. It helps you build relationships with people who respect your time and your boundaries. Number 4, emotional detachment from social approval. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." The need for approval will destroy your ambitions faster than any external obstacle. When you need people to like you, you compromise. When you compromise, you dilute your vision. When you dilute your vision, you fail. Most people are addicted to social approval. They make decisions based on what others will think. They choose paths that will be accepted instead of paths that will succeed. They sacrifice their goals to maintain their image. Here's how this plays out. You want to start a business, but your friends think it's risky. You care about their approval, so you stay in your safe job. You lose. You want to move to a new city for better opportunities, but your family wants you close. You care about their approval, so you stay where you are. You lose. You want to end a relationship because it's holding you back, but people will judge you. You care about their approval, so you stay miserable. You lose. Every time you choose approval over ambition, you reinforce the pattern. You teach yourself to value other people's opinions more than your own goals. This becomes a prison. Emotional detachment from social approval means you stop letting other people's judgments control your decisions. You recognize their opinions as information, not instructions. You make choices based on what serves your objectives, not what maintains your popularity. This is harder than it sounds. Humans are social creatures. We're wired to care about what the group thinks. Going against social pressure triggers real psychological discomfort, but that discomfort is the price of achievement. Think about anyone who accomplished something significant. They faced criticism. They faced doubt. They faced people telling them they were wrong, foolish, or doomed to fail. If they had stopped to seek approval, they would have quit. The most successful people develop immunity to social judgment. They hear the criticism and keep moving. They face the doubt and trust themselves. They encounter resistance and push through. Here's the practical application. When you make a decision, ask yourself one question. Am I doing this because it serves my goals or because I want people to approve? If the answer is approval, reconsider. When someone questions your choices, you don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to seek their validation. You acknowledge their perspective and move forward anyway. This doesn't mean ignoring all feedback. Smart people listen to criticism from sources they respect, but they filter that feedback through their own judgment instead of accepting it blindly. The liberation in emotional detachment is this. When you stop caring about approval, you stop being controlled. The opinions that used to paralyze you lose their power. The judgments that used to redirect you become background noise. But here's the cost. People will dislike you, some will resent you, others will distance themselves from you. This is the price of autonomy. You trade social comfort for strategic freedom. The question is whether you're willing to pay it. Most people aren't. They choose to be liked over being respected. They choose to fit in over standing out. They choose approval over achievement. Then they spend their lives wondering why they never reach their potential. Number 5, strategic loneliness. Machiavelli once said, "Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times." Loneliness isn't failure, it's feedback. When you're alone, it means you're moving faster than the people around you. It means you're operating at a level where companionship becomes scarce. It means you're doing something right. Most people interpret loneliness as a problem to fix. They feel isolated and immediately try to find more friends, join more groups, create more connections. They're treating the symptom instead of understanding the cause. Strategic loneliness recognizes isolation as a natural consequence of ambition. When you're working on goals that require extraordinary effort, you don't have time for ordinary socializing. When you're pursuing visions that few people understand, you won't find many people to share them with. This is the loneliness of the marathon runner who trains while others sleep. The loneliness of the entrepreneur who works weekends while friends party. The loneliness of the artist who creates instead of consumes. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Here's what happens when you embrace strategic loneliness. You stop fighting the isolation. You stop feeling guilty about declining invitations. You stop forcing yourself into social situations because you think you should. You accept that your path requires solitude. This acceptance creates focus. When you're not constantly trying to maintain friendships, you have more energy for your work. When you're not splitting your attention between social obligations and personal goals, you achieve more in less time. Let me give you specific scenarios. You're building a business and your friends want to hang out 3 times a week. Strategic loneliness means you say no to 2 of those invitations without guilt. You protect your time because you understand the cost. You're training for a competition, and people invite you to events where you'll be tempted to break your discipline. Strategic loneliness means you skip those events. You choose preparation over participation. You're learning a difficult skill, and everyone else is watching television. Strategic loneliness means you spend Friday night alone studying while they entertain themselves. You choose growth over belonging. The pattern is clear. Strategic loneliness is choosing productive isolation over unproductive connection. It's recognizing when being alone serves you better than being social. But here's the deeper truth. The loneliness you feel now is temporary. When you achieve your goals, you'll attract new relationships. People who operate at your level. People who understand your drive. People who share your ambitions. The isolation creates space for better connections later. Most people never experience this because they fill every moment of loneliness with distraction. They're so uncomfortable being alone, they never give themselves the chance to do the deep work required for success. Strategic loneliness also builds self-reliance. When you spend time alone, you learn to trust yourself. You develop internal validation instead of needing external approval. You become comfortable in your own company. This is a strength most people never develop. The warning here is balance. Strategic loneliness doesn't mean complete isolation. It means being selective about when you engage socially and when you work alone. It means understanding the season you're in and adjusting your social availability accordingly. If you're in a growth phase, expect to be alone more. If you're in a maintenance phase, you have more room for relationships. The mistake is trying to maintain full social calendars during intense growth periods. Number 6, the cost of companionship. Machiavelli once said, "Before all else, be armed." Every person in your life costs you something. Time, energy, mental space, emotional bandwidth. The question is whether the return justifies the investment. For most friendships, it doesn't. Let's quantify this. A friendship requires maintenance, text messages, phone calls, meetups, birthday celebrations, emotional support during crises, added up. That's probably 50 to 100 hours per year per close friend. If you have 5 close friends, you're spending 250 to 500 hours annually on relationship maintenance. Now ask yourself, what else could you do with 500 hours? You could learn a new language, build a side business, master a skill, write a book, train your body. Any of these activities would create more long-term value than most friendships provide. This isn't about being antisocial, this is about being honest. Most friendships are recreational. They feel good in the moment but produce no lasting value. They're entertainment, not investment. Successful people calculate these costs differently. They ask whether a relationship produces returns. Does this person make me smarter? Do they open doors? Do they challenge me? Do they provide resources, connections, or knowledge I don't have? If yes, the relationship stays. If no, it fades. Here's a practical example. You have 2 friends. Friend A is fun to be around. You laugh, you share stories, you enjoy their company. But they don't challenge you or help you grow. Friend B is more demanding. They push you, they question your assumptions, they hold you accountable. Who should get more of your time? Most people choose friend A because the relationship is easier and more pleasant. Successful people choose friend B because the relationship produces growth. Comfort versus progress. Entertainment versus development. The cost of companionship also includes emotional labor. When someone in your life is going through difficulties, you're expected to provide support. This drains your energy. It shifts your focus from your goals to their problems. If you have multiple friends going through crises simultaneously, you become a full-time emotional support system. Again, this isn't cruel, it's honest. You have limited emotional capacity. Every ounce you spend on other people's problems is an ounce you don't have for your own challenges. The math is unforgiving. Another cost is mental space. Relationships create obligations. You remember birthdays, you track conversations, you maintain context about their lives. This information takes up room in your brain, room you could use for productive thinking. The most expensive cost is compromise. Friends want you to stay the same because change makes them uncomfortable. When you start pursuing ambitious goals, your friends will consciously or unconsciously try to pull you back. They'll question your choices. They'll remind you of who you used to be. They'll make you feel guilty for growing beyond them. This social pressure is subtle but destructive. Most people give in. They slow their growth to match their friends' pace. They compromise their ambitions to maintain their relationships. They pay for companionship with their potential. So what's the solution? Reduce your friend count. Keep only the relationships that produce clear value. Let the rest fade naturally. This feels wrong at first. Society tells you that having lots of friends is success. The opposite is true. Having few high-quality relationships is success. Quality means mutual growth. Quality means both people benefit. Quality means the relationship makes you better, stronger, smarter. Everything else is just social obligation disguised as friendship. Number 7, protection through distance. Machiavelli once said, "Men ought either to be well treated or crushed because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries." Distance protects you. The closer people get, the more they see. The more they see, the more they judge. The more they judge, the more they limit you. Keeping distance keeps you free. When people get close to you, they form expectations. They create mental models of who you are and what you should do. These expectations become chains. You feel pressure to be consistent with their image of you. This prevents evolution. Think about someone you've known for years. They still see you as the person you were when you met. When you try to change, they resist. They remind you of your past behavior. They question your new direction. They want you to stay in the box they've created for you. This is why distance matters. When people don't know you deeply, they don't have fixed expectations. You have freedom to reinvent yourself. You have space to grow. You have permission to become someone new. Protection through distance also shields you from jealousy. When people know your successes, some will celebrate, most will resent. The closer they are, the more threatened they feel by your achievements. Distance prevents this dynamic from poisoning your relationships. Here's how this works in practice. You get a promotion. If you tell close friends, you risk triggering their insecurities. They compare themselves to you. They feel inadequate. The relationship becomes strained. If you maintain distance and share less, you avoid this problem. Distance also protects your strategies. The more people know about your plans, the more advice you'll get. Most of this advice will be worthless or actively harmful. People project their fears onto your ambitions. They tell you why things won't work based on their limitations, not your capabilities. When you keep distance, you keep your plans private. You execute without interference. You avoid the drain of defending your choices to people who don't understand them. Another benefit is reduced vulnerability. Close relationships require emotional honesty. When you share your fears, doubts, and weaknesses, you create opportunities for manipulation. Even well-meaning people will use this information in ways you didn't intend. Distance prevents this exposure. The practical application is simple. Share less. Reveal less. Create space between yourself and most people. This doesn't mean being cold or rude. It means being selectively open. You have different levels of access to your life. Most people get surface level. Few get deeper. But here's the balance. Some relationships benefit from closeness. A business partner who needs to trust you. A mentor who needs to understand your challenges. Maybe one or two people who genuinely support your growth. These relationships earn proximity. Everyone else stays at arm's length. The mistake most people make is trying to be close with everyone. They overshare. They over-explain. They give everyone backstage access to their lives. Then they wonder why they feel exposed and vulnerable. Protection through distance creates a buffer between you and the world. You maintain control over your narrative. You preserve your energy. You avoid unnecessary conflict and judgment. You stay free to pursue your goals without social interference. Number 8. Solitude as competitive advantage. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. While everyone else is socializing, you're working. While they're maintaining friendships, you're building skills. While they're seeking approval, you're creating results. This is your edge. Solitude gives you time. Time is the only resource you cannot buy, borrow, or steal. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. How you spend those hours determines your outcomes. Most people waste their hours on social activities. You invest yours in productive work. Do the math. If you spend 20 hours per week on social activities and someone else spends 5, you have 15 fewer hours for growth. Over a year, they have 780 more hours than you. That's almost 100 full workdays of advantage. Over 10 years, they're 1,000 workdays ahead. You never catch up. Solitude also gives you focus. When you're alone, you don't have to manage other people's emotions, expectations, or opinions. You direct all your mental energy toward your goals. This concentrated focus produces better work in less time. Think about when you do your best thinking. Probably when you're alone. Walking, driving, sitting quietly. Your brain needs space to process complex problems. Social interaction prevents this processing. Solitude enables it. The competitive advantage compounds over time. While others are developing social skills, you're developing professional skills. While they're maintaining networks, you're building expertise. When opportunities arise, you're more prepared. You have more knowledge. You have more practice. You win. Here's a specific example. 2 people want to become writers. Person A spends 3 hours per day writing. Person B spends 1 hour writing and 2 hours discussing writing with friends. After 1 year, Person A has written 1,095 hours. Person B has written 365 hours. Who do you think is a better writer? The same principle applies to any field. The person who spends more time in productive solitude outperforms the person who splits time between work and socializing. This isn't about talent. This is about time allocation. Solitude also builds mental toughness. When you spend time alone, you face yourself, your doubts, your weaknesses, your fears. You learn to manage these internal challenges without external validation. This self-reliance becomes a strength in high-pressure situations. Most people can't handle solitude. They need constant stimulation. They need people around them to feel okay. This dependency makes them weak. When they face challenges alone, they crumble. You've trained yourself to operate in isolation. You're stronger. The competitive advantage extends to decision-making. When you're alone, you make clearer choices. You're not influenced by group dynamics. You're not swayed by peer pressure. You're not compromising to maintain harmony. You decide based on logic and strategy. This produces better outcomes. Another advantage is recovery. Social interaction is draining. Even positive interactions consume energy. When you spend less time socializing, you have more energy reserves. You can work longer. You can focus harder. You can push further than people who are constantly drained by social obligations. The final advantage is authenticity. When you're alone, you don't have to perform. You don't have to manage your image. You don't have to be anyone other than yourself. This authenticity allows you to understand who you really are and what you really want. Most people never get this clarity because they're always playing social roles. So here's the truth. Solitude isn't something to fix, it's something to embrace. It's your secret weapon. While everyone else is busy being social, you're busy becoming exceptional. While they're maintaining their popularity, you're building your capability. While they're seeking connection, you're creating achievement. The people who succeed at the highest levels understand this. They protect their solitude. They guard their time. They choose productivity over popularity. They recognize isolation as the price of excellence. You've learned the 8 principles of strategic solitude, but information without implementation is worthless. Pick the one principle from this video where you said, "Yes, I needed to hear this." For the next 7 days, practice it. Don't try to master all 8 at once. Focus on one. Notice what changes. Notice how people respond differently. Notice how you feel when you prioritize your goals over social expectations. But remember, the ethical foundation we discussed at the beginning. These principles are for protection and growth, not for cruelty. You're not learning to hurt people. You're learning to stop letting people hurt your potential. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming clear about what matters. The world needs people who understand these truths and use them wisely. People who recognize the cost of companionship and make informed choices. People who embrace solitude as a tool for excellence rather than a problem to fix. People who achieve their goals without compromising their integrity. Your loneliness isn't a weakness. It's evidence you're on a different path. It's proof you're willing to pay the price for greatness. It's confirmation you're choosing your future over your present comfort. The most dangerous person in any situation is the one willing to stand alone. The most successful person in any field is the one who masters solitude. Which kind of person will you become? If this video changed how you think about success and relationships, hit the like button If you want more content about achievement, psychology, and the uncomfortable truths nobody talks about, subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 8 principles hit you the hardest. Which one are you going to practice first? Until next time, remember this. True success isn't about being well-liked, it's about being well-prepared. True strength isn't about having many friends, it's about having clear priorities. True wisdom isn't about belonging everywhere, it's about excelling somewhere. Stay focused, stay solitary when necessary, and stay committed to becoming the person your future self will thank you for being.